a woman comes to take Oshin's little sister away. She is to be adopted by another family. Oshin refuses to let her sister go, but the woman tries to explain to her gently. Her sister will grow up to be a good person in that family. Here they can't even manage 2 meals a day. Oshin sits outside with a heavy heart. There's nothing she can do. The next day, she sets out again in search of work at a new house. But when she gets there, she learns that they don't need any help. The lady of the house, named Rooney, also tells her that they don't require any workers. Saying this, they go back inside. But Oshin refuses to return home without work. So even as night falls, she stays seated in front of the house. In the middle of the night, the daughter-in-law of the house, Mino, comes out and tells Oshin that perhaps someone gave her the wrong information. No help is needed here. Mino gives her some money and tells her to spend the night at an inn and then return to her village. But Oshin refuses to take the money. She says she won't leave without working. Her family was promised 5 sacks of rice in return for 2 years of work. That rice is desperately needed. Her family is starving. She says she can do all kinds of work and pleads with them to give her a chance. Rooney overhears everything and decides to let Oshin stay in their home. Oshin is overjoyed and thanks them sincerely. The next morning, she wakes up very early and goes to the kitchen to start working. She wants to cook rice, but the housemaid tells her not to do that. Oshin is just a little girl. Still, Oshin cooks the rice by herself. Then she wants to do more. She wants to wash clothes. But again, the maid tells her not to do anything. Though she had done all these tasks in the previous house, here, she isn't required to. And strangely, not being allowed to work makes Oshin feel sad. After that, Oshin starts taking Mino's little son out for walks. One day, she sees a girl her age named Kao. Kao is actually the daughter of this household, Mino's daughter. A maid from the house is accompanying her to school. Oshin asks, "Can't you go to school by yourself?" Kao doesn't like that comment at all. She leaves without saying a word. Later, Oshin notices one of Kao's books left on the table. Oshin loves to read, so she picks up the book and starts reading it. Just then, someone calls her to do chores, so she keeps the book with her and goes to work. When Kao returns from school and can't find the book, she starts asking everyone. Eventually, she sees it with Oshin. Since Oshin took the book without asking, Kao calls her a thief. Mino feels hurt by Oshin's behavior. Kao's father tells his wife that a thief shouldn't be kept in their house. Oshin steps in and says she didn't steal the book. She just wanted to read it. But no one can believe that a maid like Oshin can actually read. So Rooney tells her to read the book aloud. Oshin begins reading it beautifully, and everyone is shocked to hear how clearly and fluently she reads. Then Rooney tells her, "Oshin, people already assume that maids are guilty by nature, so from now on, be very careful with such things." Oshin has now become close with everyone in the house. They don't make her do much work, and they give her plenty of food. She's doing well here. One day, she is playing the harmonica that Sako gave her. Kao sees it, takes it from her, and starts playing it. Then she says, "I'm taking this. My mother will pay you for it." But Oshin refuses to give it away. "Even if you brought me all the money in the world, I wouldn't sell this. It's a gift from Sako. It's the last memory I have of him." Kao becomes angry, pushes Oshin, and tries to break the harmonica by kicking it. In a panic, Oshin shoves her away and picks up the harmonica. But Kao falls down and loses consciousness. Now Oshin is in serious trouble. Kao's father finds out. Not only has Oshin pushed his daughter and knocked her unconscious, but she also once ran away from her previous home and was seen with a man who was a deserter, someone considered a traitor. He tells his mother that Oshin must be thrown out of the house. Oshin says, "Yes, I made a mistake. I pushed Kao, but please don't insult Sako. He was a kind man. He gave me shelter and taught me how to read. He fled from war because war takes lives and forces people to kill others. War is not the answer." Rooney tells Oshin, "Kao will recover, but because such a serious problem happened, no one will be able to maintain a good relationship with you. You can't stay in the same house anymore." So Rooney decides to arrange for Oshin to work for another family. On the other side, Kao regains consciousness. The housemaid gives her a little owl made of grass, something Oshin had made for her. She hears that Oshin is leaving the house. Upon hearing this, Kao runs to her grandma, Rumi, and pleads that it's not Oshin's fault. She admits that she had forced Oshin to buy her a harmonica. While everyone feared Kao, Oshin didn't. She stood up to her. Even the fight they had was just a childish game. Oshin is a very good girl, and she shouldn't be sent away from the house. Kao begs her grandmother to let Oshin stay. Grandma is touched by Kao's words. She decides that Oshin will stay in the house. From that moment on, Oshin begins living there again. Kao becomes her close friend. They even take Oshin with them to pray at the temple. Oshin is truly happy now. But then, one day, she suddenly sees her mother. Her mother has come to the area to earn some money by keeping drunk men company. Seeing her mother like this shocks Oshin. Her mother, too, is deeply embarrassed upon seeing her. That night, they quietly meet each other. Oshin's mother tells her she came here for work and her contract will end when the season changes. She will then return home. Oshin says nothing. She simply hugs her mother and cries. Knowing that her mother has to do such work deeply hurts Oshin. She cries bitterly. Rumi sees this and understands the truth about Oshin's mother. Still, she says nothing. Instead, she comforts Oshin, telling her, "This is the greatness of women. They never work for their own interests. They work for their parents, their husbands, and their children. They don't have the luxury to think of themselves. Your mother is doing this for the family. Even if this work brings her pain, she endures it. Never blame her. Never hate her. Love your mother with all your heart." Oshin breaks down in tears. Spring quietly arrives. Oshin's mother has returned home. One day, while working, Mino brings news that Oshin's grandmother is very ill, and she needs to return home immediately. But Oshin refuses to leave before finishing her share of the work. She keeps working. The other housemaids beg her to stop and leave right away. Maybe then she can still see her grandmother alive. Still, Oshin continues to work. Meanwhile, her grandmother lies on her deathbed. Though she can't see her beloved granddaughter one last time, she eats the rice Oshin had earned and sent with great satisfaction. Just then, seeing Oshin still working, Kao approaches and gives her one of her own kimonos. She tells Oshin to wear it and go to her grandmother right now. Oshin doesn't wait anymore. She rushes off toward her village, determined to see her grandmother one last time. She struggles through the journey, and when she finally reaches home, she realizes she is too late. Her grandmother is no more. She has passed away. Crying, Oshin repeatedly asks for forgiveness from her grandmother. She couldn't come to her one last time. That regret makes her pain even deeper, and with that sorrow in her heart, she falls asleep. The next morning, she wakes up and sees her mother still working. Sitting beside her grandmother's photo, her mother hands her the money, the same money her grandmother had given her, which the family had once taken from her, falsely accusing her of theft. Now they've returned it. This money becomes the last memory Oshin has of her grandmother. She watches her mother tirelessly doing all the household chores. The pain she felt seeing her mother work that humiliating job seems to fade away. Rumi's words echo in her mind. Mothers don't live for themselves. They live for their family. Oshin goes up to her mother and says, "Mom, you're always working. You never rest." Her mother replies, "That's a mother's job." Oshin, with a soft smile, says, "Mom, I'm truly happy I was born as your daughter." Her mother replies, "From now on, you'll stay with us. We've struggled so much for the family. No more struggling now." But Oshin says, "No, Mom, this isn't a struggle. I can now take care of everything. Even if I'm alone, I can take care of myself." Her mother is filled with joy seeing how responsible Oshin has become. They embrace each other, feeling a peaceful love that's grown even deeper between them. Now Oshin has found her own path in life. The once vibrant 7-year-old girl has grown into someone responsible and mature. She steps forward again toward work and toward fulfilling her dream of studying, to stand beside her family, and that's where the story ends. Omo tries to explain to her, "You should be thankful. Despite your age and leg problem, they still want to adopt you." But Yeshin cries and walks away. Suki steals some food and feeds it to the bird. Then she carefully places it inside a box to care for it. The next day, a show was arranged at the orphanage. Watching it, all the children were happy, and so was Jin-hee. She was slowly getting used to living in this orphanage. She had made a friend now. She had found Suki. That night, the two of them quietly came to the kitchen again. While eating pancakes, Suki said, "In America, you can eat pancakes every day." Jin-hee replied, "Still, I won't go. My father will come and take me from here." Suki said, "I've never seen my father. My mother never told me where he lives. She left me with my aunt and went away. My aunt also never told me where my mother went. One day, she took me to a fortune teller. The fortune teller said I'll have a very good life abroad. That's why I practice English, so that some foreign couple will adopt me." In fact, all the children in this orphanage wait like thirsty birds, hoping a good family will adopt them. But no one here knows how long they'll have to stay. The next day, one of the girls from the orphanage was adopted by a family, and whenever a child leaves the orphanage, all the children sing a farewell song to say goodbye. After saying goodbye to that girl, Jinhee and Sufki went up to the roof to see the bird. There they saw Yeshin giving a letter to Seong-soo, the one she liked. They were very happy that Yeshin finally shared her feelings. That day, an American couple came to the orphanage, wanting to adopt a child. Seeing the Americans, Suki ran to welcome them. Meanwhile, at the gate, Seong-soo asked Jinhee about Yeshin. Jinhee replied, "Sister sent her outside." Seong-soo handed a letter to Jinhee and asked her to give it to Yeshin. Later, the children gathered in a room where the American couple was asking everyone's name. Each child told them their name and age. But Suki not only told her name and age, she also shared her hobbies, what she studies, everything, with a sweet smile, ending with, "Thank you." The couple was quite impressed with her. Then they asked Jinhee her name, but Jinhee didn't say a word. She just sat silently with a serious face. She didn't want to be adopted. That night, when Yeshin returned, everyone smiled at her knowingly. She couldn't understand why. Then Suki handed her the letter and said, "Your lover sent this." Yeshin was overjoyed and went downstairs to read it. But as she read it, her face fell. Her heart sank. It was clear to all the children what Seong-soo had written in that letter. The next day, it suddenly began to rain. Jinhee and Suki went to the rooftop to see the bird. The sick bird was completely drenched. They brought it into their room, dried it carefully, and placed it gently in a cupboard. Yeshin returned to the room late in the day. She wasn't eating properly, nor talking to anyone. And how could she? She had lived in this orphanage for years, and no one had ever adopted her because of her leg. She had only one wish, one love in her life, Seong-soo. And now, even he had rejected her feelings. Bomo asked her why she was acting this way, but Yeshin didn't say a word. The next day, the bird Jinhee and Suki had brought in died. They buried it beside a bush. Meanwhile, Yeshin tried to commit suicide. Bomo carried her on her back and ran toward the gate. At the same time, the American couple returned to speak with Jinhee and Suki again. They wanted to know more about them. Suki shared many things, what she liked to do, what books she was reading, and more. But Jinhee once again didn't answer any questions. Outside, Suki asked her, "Why didn't you say anything?" Jinhee replied, "Because I'm not going anywhere from here." Suki said, "They called both of us because they like us. We can both go with them. If I go, will you come too?" The bond between Suki and Jinhee had grown stronger. Jinhee asked, "Can we really both go?" Suki said, "I'll ask them." They promised each other they would go together. The next day, Yeshin was brought back from the hospital. She was asked to apologize in front of everyone. Standing before them, Yeshin said, "I will never commit such a sinful act again. I won't waste this precious life that the Almighty has given me." But how could the children understand the depth of her words? They all burst into laughter, and Yeshin laughed along with them. Just a day later, the elderly couple adopted Yeshin. Today, Yeshin is leaving the orphanage. As she walks away, her eyes seem to be searching only for Bomo. But Bomo is nowhere to be seen. Jinhee comes and tells Bomo that Yeshin has left. In truth, Bomo had chosen not to go there. She was crying a lot. Bomo had been part of this orphanage for a long time. She had seen many children come and go. Only Yeshin had stayed. That's why a deep bond like that of a mother and daughter had formed between Bomo and Yeshin. And today, seeing her daughter leave like this, Bomo couldn't bear it. All she could do was cry. That's the rule of the orphanage, after all. To release her pain, she started dusting the bed with intensity. Outside, Jinhee was alone because Suki had gone out with the American couple. When Suki returned, she kept practicing the words, "See you tomorrow." When Jinhee asked what it meant, Suki replied, "It means we'll meet tomorrow." With a heavy heart, Jinhee asked, "You're going again tomorrow?" Suki said yes for her English class. She also added that she forgot to ask today, but tomorrow she would definitely ask if they could go together. And so, to make sure they could go together, she began teaching Jinhee English too. The next afternoon, Jinhee was sitting and waiting for Suki to return, hoping to find out whether they could go together. But a sister came and informed her that Suki wouldn't be coming back today. She would stay with the couple. Jinhee felt deeply heartbroken. She had only one friend. The next morning, Suki came and apologized. saying she would be leaving with the couple today. Jin-hee didn't even turn to look at her. Everyone sang a farewell song for Suki, and she left to start her new life. Jin-hee became alone again. She didn't want to stay even a moment longer. She ran to the director and asked to contact her father. She didn't want to be there. She gave her home address and begged, "Please, please bring my father to me." The director agreed to look for her father. The next day, toys were brought to the orphanage for everyone. While the others were very happy, Jin-hee threw her doll away in anger. When another child picked it up, she snatched it back in frustration and tore it into pieces. Bomo pulled her outside and handed her a stick, telling her to release all her anger on the bed. And Jin-hee struck the bed hard, expressing all her rage. Later, the director called her in and said they had gone to the address she gave to look for her father. But her family didn't live there. Another family did. Jin-hee broke down completely. Her heart shattered into pieces. She ran to the bird's grave and started digging it up again. The next day was the day everyone was going to church. But Jin-hee pretended to be sick and stayed behind. When everyone left the orphanage, she wandered through each room one by one. There was no one in the whole orphanage now except her. She ran to the grave and began digging a bigger hole. Digging and digging, she made a huge grave. Then she lay down in it herself. With all her anger and sorrow bottled inside, she started covering herself with soil. Even though she buried herself completely, she couldn't stay there. Struggling to breathe, she had to remove all the dirt. Poor girl. She had thought that, like the bird, she could bury herself and erase her existence from the world. But ending one's life isn't that easy. After that day, she completely changed. Jin-hee became very calm. The director informed her that a couple from abroad wanted to adopt her. This time, Jin-hee agreed. While Bomo was making clothes for her, she asked Jin-hee to sing a song. Jin-hee began singing, and the lyrics were something like this. "You'll never know how much I loved you, and when the time has passed, you'll regret it. But if you ever feel lonely, if you ever feel sad, just call my name. I'll be there by your side. I'll be there to wipe away all your pain." Listening to the song, Bomo understood very clearly for whom Jin-hee was singing it. Then the day arrived. Jin-hee was finally leaving the orphanage. A group photo was taken with everyone. It was clear that this was the same Jin-hee who once, filled with anger, stubbornness, and pain, had buried herself in that grave. Until today, she had never been happy at anyone's farewell, had never smiled in any picture. But today, that lively smile returned to her face. The same smile she wore the last time she laughed while riding her father's bicycle. Everyone sang a farewell song as they bid her goodbye. Jin-hee left the orphanage behind. However, she still hadn't seen her new parents. They hadn't arrived in Korea yet, so she had to take the flight with another couple. Sitting on the plane, Jin-hee kept thinking about that day when she rested her head on her father's back, sitting on the back of his bicycle, peacefully heading home. But now that Jin-hee and her father seemed to be lost in a deep darkness, Jin-hee is now a new person. Upon arriving at the airport, her eyes anxiously searched for her new parents, and her new parents too looked on eagerly, waiting to see their new daughter. From this moment on, Jin-hee and her new parents were about to begin a new life, and this is where their brand new life begins.